right. All right. Welcome to Salty's PokeStop, where we do everything Pokemon. Today, what do we call you?
Let's go with my name. We're starting off. I'm Sergio. Thank you for having me. I'm here to
Very
talk about
welcome.
Pokemon. We've been playing for a while, and then you got more into it once we started, right? So we started playing Pokemon, and then you got into cards, and then now we're doing the podcast, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Exactly. Hopefully, it takes off.
We
Can't even tell myself. All right. All right. So to start, what's your favorite type? What's your favorite Pokemon type?
I think water. Water type, like the water types have always gotten my interest. There's some like pretty cool ones. Actually, it's a hard question. You have great Pokemons all over. Some are cooler than other ones. I think overall, water type is the ones I like. Vaporeon, especially the shiny version, is one of the ones I use a lot as well. And then for me, especially, I've always kind of liked the water. I think that's kind of also why I like water Pokemon. It's just me. I like going out to nature as well, and then going out on the rivers and stuff. Just when I first started getting into Pokemon, that's kind of where I got into. I started seeing the Blastoise, Squirtles, all of them, and then I was like,
that's cool. So water Pokemon is your favorite type. I really like fire Pokemon. Ever since the beginning of like Pokemon series ever started, when you're like during blue and red version, the originals ones that came out, I was like, dude, Charizard's OP. Just looks tight. So I've always liked fire.
I think most of the people, Charizard was a fan favorite. Blastoise was also pretty good, but I think everywhere I would talk to my friends, Pokemon would come up. Charizard's my favorite. But for me, growing up has always been like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to have a unique one. And then, though Blastoise was I think the second most popular, right?
Most likely because it was an original starter,
Yeah, but once Pokemon started growing, making other, dragon types and there's steel types and everything, that's when, I think more people go like, oh, there's way more and more variety. Can't say that word. But that's when I think it started picking up because I remember seeing a YouTube video where like they were like, hey, why is Charizard a fire type and not a dragon type? And then I think there was an explanation, but I mean in simple terms, at the time Pokemon was brand new and they only had the 4 elements, I think it was, with a few other things. But now that it started growing, they started making new steel types or new genres of Pokemon. So
I'm not even sure if Dragon type was like even a real type in the beginning. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, that's
there
what
was
I'm
Dragon,
saying.
but I don't know what Dragonite would have been besides Dragon type, I guess. But it's like when you think about Gyarados, you don't think of it being water flying. Like, what?
Dude, yeah, a lot of people were confused about that. They thought it was just straight water, and it's like, I remember the first time I saw that, I was just like, flying type. But I guess it's tied back to the inspiration that gave it. Gyarados was actually like I don't know if it was a Japanese story or a Chinese story where it was a goldfish that turned into, I think, a dragon or something like that. Have you heard that story or no?
I haven't heard that story.
No, it was so like there's certain Pokemons that are inspired by true life stories, either mythology
like
or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So like Gyarados is one of them. I think it was like a carp or something like that would trying to swim up the, what is it, a waterfall or something, and then eventually turned into a dragon and flew up. So I think that's the story that was for Magikarp.
Well, that's pretty tight. All right, so for our next question is, what do you have a favorite Pokemon?
I think it's gonna sound common, a general. Sorry about the noise next to can move actually. There's a lot of cars. But I think overall, my favorite Pokemon would probably have to be an Eevee, just because like it can transform to various other Pokemon. It's electric type, water type, fire type, fairy type, and then the list can go on and on. They can keep coming up with more. So I think an Eevee is probably my favorite just because it turns into.
Dang, that's crazy. Eevee, that evolution.
Yeah,
There's so many of them.
Yeah, it's one of those Pokemons that just can, based on what you want, what you're feeling, it transforms. And then the shiny version, some of them are don't look too different, but some of them are super cool. And I'm like, me personally,
Like
I like
Umbreon.
I like to shiny hunt because especially those Pokemon that are just complete opposites of what they originally look like. Those are amazing.
Like Charizard becomes Black Charizard.
The Roaring Moon from Scarlet and Violet, from Area Zero. That one's amazing too.
It becomes all like teal or like a teal green.
Yeah. It's usually
Blue.
It's blue, light bluish, and then it turns teal green with like yellow, gold. So it looks pretty amazing.
Is Roaring Moon your most like favorite Pokemon from like the Scarlet Violet series?
Let me think real quick. I want to say, yeah, I think so. I wish I could use them a lot more in battles when it comes to raids and stuff, so I can show them off. But as of right now, every chance I get, I try to bring them out. But as they are more Pokemons that are way more suited for certain raids, so I don't bring them out as much as possible. But for the Scarlet video games, yeah, and I'd say that's one of it is my favorite of the Scarlets and Violet series.
Yeah, and that it's super cool looking because it's like what's its other form? Like it's what's its name for the other form before the Paradox version?
Right. What is it?
I forget its name.
I'm drawing blanks. Yeah, no, I'm drawing blanks as well. It's sorry.
Regardless.
What about you?
That one my favorite for Scarlet and Violet. I don't know. That's hard to pick because I think there's so many cool like different ones. Like I really enjoyed playing with the Fuecoco line all the way up to Skeledirge. I thought that was cool, but what I really like is, I never really liked Appleton and Flapple. Never really liked them, but the High Dragon I think is tight. Like I like playing with High Dragon because it's just when you do a certain move or when you win like a battle, like all its little heads come out and I'm like,
Yeah,
I think that's tight.
Yeah, they
And
came
it's
out
shiny
of nowhere
version.
with that. Yeah, they were releasing the last update. I was like, oh, there's going to be a new Appleton evolution. And I was like, I thought it was going to be kind of like Eevee, where like it has different evolutions, but actually it's an evolution of an evolution. So it's it has a third evolution now, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I think they did a good job because I really like it when Pokemon like look like dinosaurs or like dragons or whatever. I think it's like it's pretty just savage looking. So especially when it becomes a real dragon type, because it is a dragon type, and you're like, how is this little thing even a dragon type? Because it has a little lizard tail like in its little apple form. But I think they did a good job with all 5 heads and the way they all go crazy once you win and everything. But yeah, I really like that one. Could you right now, could you pick a team of 6 that you would play with?
I think I play a lot with Iron Hands, Roaring Moon, just because I like to show them off the shiny version, Vaporeon, and I also like Jolteon. Jolteon is a good one. What am I at? What other ones do I use a lot? For some reason, Slowbro. I use them quite a lot, which is not a super popular one, but that's especially the shiny version is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I think the final one I also like using is what's that legendary from Sword and Shield? Zakane.
The wolf one.
Zakane. Yeah, Zakane. That's what it is. I was drawing blanks right now. I recently just got him as a shiny, and I'm like super
Okay.
excited to use them everywhere. I'm just, I did like a few raids just a few days back, and I was just bringing them out.
I don't even understand how people even get those things shiny. Like you would
Yeah,
have to like either if they get it in the game, you would have to like save and like redo like the whole like some of the story, and it takes forever. Or
to
they
be
probably got them
honest,
on Pokemon Go.
yeah, no, the dedication on that to get a shiny on a legendary is pretty insane. You know, I did for myself, I did a trade. You know how there's Pokemon Home, so you can do certain
Hmm.
trades. But yeah, for those people that grind and actually get the shinies like the old-fashioned way, hats off to them. Hats off to them, because that is not a patient. That is not something. I mean, it's fun for them, you know, and the assignment they get, but I don't have the
Hmm.
patience to just sit there and be like, hey, like over and over. I've seen some people do it for like 14 hours, and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, right. People do it for like weeks sometimes. You know, like I've seen some playthroughs where they're like, just trying for like a long period of time. You're like, what do you? How do you even have the patience to continue doing this all the time? It's insane.
Yeah, and some even like get a shiny they're looking for that day, and the next day they look for another one, like another 7 or 8 hours, maybe more. And I'm just like, you know, dedication. It's amazing.
Yeah, they better have like some really good channel support on YouTube or whatever. They're playing that many hours a day. Oh god. Um. Okay, so for Scarlet and Violet, do you how many Pokemon games have you played?
Let's see. I haven't been playing that long. I honestly got into Pokemon with Shiny Pearl, but the remake, not the old. You know how it was remastered for the Switch and everything. So I
Yeah.
got the Switch, and then I would always hear everybody say like, you know, Pokemon, it's fun and everything, but I would only see the parts where like they would battle and they would click the buttons. I was like, I don't know. But for me, what I like about Pokemon is, you know, I've always liked games where you collect, and especially if there's like rare items, where you collect certain rare
Hmm.
items, you can tell other people and be like, "Yo, I got this one." That's when I started shiny hunting, and that's what got me to like get more involved in Pokemon, get more into it. I do have patience for shiny hunting regular Pokemon, but you know, like we just said, the legendaries are, I think, a little too much for me as of right now. Maybe one day. Actually, no. Now thinking back on it, I did. Well, I would play Pokemon Go. You know how that was
Hmm.
took the world by storm for a while. But when I actually playing the Pokemon game, I started in Shiny Pearl for the Switch, and then from there I've been
Hmm.
getting almost every game. Right now I don't have Sword and Shield or Pikachu and Eevee. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I'm definitely looking for the new game that also just got announced not too long ago. Z through A, I think it is Pokemon. That
Oh
one I'm
yeah.
gonna be,
Pokemon.
yeah, where that one I'm excited about, especially because they got X and Y, and they're gonna have those you know, mega evolutions. I
Hmm.
hope they let me transfer my Roaring Moon. Ooh, that's gonna look amazing. If
Yeah. I feel like they would be. I feel like you're gonna like either you're gonna have to beat the whole game and then they'll let you like transfer over like mons from like other games or something. Because you know how cheap it would be to be able to like transfer over your like
Yeah,
Charizard
no,
like
they
immediately.
they they won't do it right off the bat. I think it's gonna take probably like a few years before they start doing like, all right, you can start now bringing in Pokemon. Because you know, yeah, if I can transfer the Pokemons I have right now, that game's not gonna, you know, Iron Hands with Draining Punch, and then you know, Belly Drum, game over.
Hmm.
But
Game over.
yeah,
One.
they usually
Zygarde.
do that. Huh?
I was like, sorry, Zygarde, dead.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Iron Hands, I think, is one of the best Pokemon for raids. You know, just Belly Drum and Drain Punch, and then you just go off. But usually for Pokemon, when they release a game, you know, they'll let you play it. After a few months, they'll do an update where you can start transferring in certain Pokemons, and then throughout the years, they'll be like, okay, now you can transfer others. Generation A or 1 or 2 or Generation X and Y, pretty much.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. So what did you think about the since you've only played Diamond and Pearl and Scarlet and Violet?
No, I also played Arceus. Arceus was released like in between those
Oh
two.
yeah,
Yeah, so
Legends, the
I
original.
did. Yeah, I think there was a new game style they were trying out, and I really liked it. I would go out. It was back in time. Technically, I guess you can say it's still Diamond and Pearl to a certain degree, but it's a different storyline. So I have that one. They had what were they called? Boss Pokemon or something like that, where they were like way bigger than the original ones. So if you find
Oh
like a
yeah,
bunch of yeah, so that was cool. You can fly around, you can do everything, and then catching them pretty cool as well. That one I tried shiny hunting for a while, but it was at the time I was like busy with work, so I couldn't get too into it. I finished the story, and then I caught like 6 shinies, and I was happy with that. But
hmm
I was aiming for all the Pokemons as shinies. So I was like, well, maybe I'll get back into it. You never know.
I
Sometimes you're like, hey, should I get into?
I hear getting shinies on that game is like pretty easy because they like make sounds and stuff. Like you'll like
Yeah,
pass
yeah,
over one
yeah. Yeah, there's
braviary
some
and you
people
go
who
ching
just
ching.
ride it the reindeer and they're just sprinting, and then out of nowhere you'll hear the it sounds like a little bells, ring ring, and
Yeah,
then they'll stop and look around and see what's
the site you should get back into it. Yeah, Legend Arceus was. I think that was a tight Pokemon game because I mean, compared to Diamond and Pearl, do you like what style do you like more? Do you like that little like chibi style where you're just like that little character running
No,
around, or do you
no,
like the
no. I think after Arceus, that's when I really started getting more into like, I liked Pokemon. Like I said, collecting it and everything, looking for shinies and stuff. But yeah, Diamond and Pearl, I was just like, oh, it's an alright game. I'll play on my if I have nothing else to do. But on Arceus, that's when I was like eager to get home so I can start playing and be like, yo, I want to put some good time into this. And then Scarlet and Violet, that's when I started going super hard, just catching shinies whenever I could, dedicating more time, looking up certain strategies to become better in raids,
Mhm.
and just going
Austin John?
raiding on. Yeah, Austin John just everywhere. It's like, hello guys, Austin John here, and today I'm gonna help you with the 7-star raid. And then some of them were crazy hard. Yeah, the little. Let's get started. The whole
Yeah.
things. Some of those raids, I would try to figure the raids out by myself, but some of them were just insane. I didn't have the experience to like, all the stats, everything that was going on. And then
Yeah, all the
Austin
time.
John would be the guy you would go to. Be like, well, Austin John, help me out over here.
He's the guy.
Um, he is. He's a pretty. I think he's the go-to guy for Pokemon as of right now. I don't know. Later on that could change, but he's very into Pokemon. He's up to date on like everything that happens to Pokemon. So
What would be? I don't think I asked you this, but what would be your top three most favorite Mons from Scarlet and Violet? Like, if you were to, out of all of them, you have to pick three, and like, tell me why you would choose those three to be like your most favorite out of the whole game.
I think number one would be Iron Hands. When it comes down to it, Iron Hands is just a tank. His life and everything. On top of that, he can self heal. With Draining Punch. When it comes to Scarlet and Violet, I think Iron Hands is he's not my favorite when it comes to like the one I like the most, but without a doubt, he is the one I use the most. He's a nice, reliable Pokemon that can, help you in any difficult circumstance.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one I like is, obviously I've mentioned him already, is the Roaring Moon. Even though he's not as good in raids, when it comes down to, like I have brought up Pokemon Home. When you're gonna make a trade, if you have a shiny Roaring Moon, he is a good Pokemon to pretty much trade for any other Pokemon. You can get a pretty rare Pokemon and then people will trade for them. And then I think the last one, see, I forget the name, but my last one would be the shiny version of Feebas, the evolved version. Do you remember that?
Melodic.
Yes, exactly that one. I think that one's just gonna stay as my top 3, just because I think that was my first shiny that I had to shiny pearl. I don't know if you know this, but you have to go in this dark cave, and then there's like not a lake, but there's a body of water there. You have to go square by square fishing, right? You have to go fish, and I think it took me like a good 2 to 3 hours fishing to find a Feebas. And then after that, I had to go breed him. So I had to get his EVs and IVs up. So I had to get him on best on everything. I had to breed him and then give him the knot. That one I dedicated so much time to him. And then once the final product came out, I was just I put way too much work onto you to so I think that one would be my third one. Just because I wouldn't say blood and sweat came into it, but definitely dedication. I definitely had to put in some work into it, and I like the final product.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought melodic, but I mean, isn't that a dragon type too?
Yeah, I think it's a dragon water type.
Yeah,
and I haven't used them too much, but I do think it's one of the more beautiful looking shinies, gold and everything. So, I like it.
Gold's technically the most pretty Pokemon of them all. So
I agree.
I picked a few. I picked 3 as well, and I already talked about this one, but the Artibax. I think the Artibax, the pre-evolution to Baxcalibur.
Right.
I think Artibax is super tight because it looks like a actual dinosaur, and it has that giant fin on its back, and it's hunched over, and it just looks like it's like a raptor. I think it's really aesthetically pleasing for a Pokemon. It looks pretty sad. And I mean, I trained mine all the way up to 100 without evolving it, and I got a shiny version, so he's like that really cool light blue.
Right. Yeah, I remember you telling me about him, and it's just no, I'm gonna try to get him up without using the candies and stuff, and I was like, oh, go for it. So
yeah, cool. I got him. So and my next one would be King Gambit.
Okay.
I like King Gambit because one, he's strong. He just one shot everyone. I used him through my first playthrough, and I would just use that move where he's uses his helmet to hit people with it, the sword helmet, and it would just one shot him every time. I'm like, dude, savage. You can't bring him down.
That's true. I do remember. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I like it when he's running, when you have him out and he's running around, and he's just running around.
He's not even running around. He's sitting on something and just goes he gets whiplash. He's just
yeah, he's giving a vehicle. He's just so fast.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool how you get him, because you have to go to that bamboo forest, and you have to fight they're not alphas, but the leaders, to get the crests. That took me a while. That took me 2 hours to do, because it's hard to find those Bisharps, trying to find the right one with the crest. So I thought the evolution to get him was tight. I think King Gambit was a well thought through Pokemon, and I just like his design for being little samurai man.
Yeah, his shiny version, I know you mentioned it, it's like I said, I like Pokemons when they're their shiny version are complete opposites. In King Gambit, his color is red, a little maroonish, you can say, and then his shiny version is darker blue, kind of night blue, and it's a pretty cool. Yeah, it's a pretty cool shade, and I'm thinking back on it, I was I remember I did it specifically was shiny hunting from until I got him. I was yep, this one's an amazing catch too.
Yeah, that one stays in my party. I usually keep them in my party. I don't ever take them out, just in case I need someone to just got someone. And then I would say my last one, I already said this too, but I absolutely hated the Appleton line. I hated Appleton. didn't like Flapple. I thought they were like dumb looking. And then High Dragon came, and I was like, yo, like High Dragon is tight, like with all the heads and its moves and stuff. It's like dragon grass dragon maybe. So
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of grass Pokemon, but that one, especially the shiny version with carameled apple, like, I think they did a good job with that one.
Reminiscing on all this makes me want to go play again. I kind of like recently I've stopped. I have been active here and there, like once a week. Just talking about this, be like, damn, I gotta get back in it. Be ready for the Z through A. We'll see how it goes.
Pokemon ZA looks. From just the trailer alone, it's like I started playing. What's it called? I think it's Y version. I started playing that, and
X and Y.
Yeah, X and Y, and it's like it's pretty classic, like the classic games where it's kind of chibi and small looking like characters and stuff. But the Mega Evolution is pretty tight. I dig Charizard.
Yeah, Charizard I think has been one of the favorites because it just has so many. I think it has both an X and a Y Mega Evolution. One of the rare Pokemon.
Gotta get a Z. It's gonna get a Z now.
Is that what it is? Is Z another evolution as well? Is that what's going on? I don't know too much.
It's like they only came out with X and Y, and they never came out with like a Z, like a third version, right? Of that game. It's like one of the only games they didn't come out with like a third version. Ruby and Sapphire, they came out with Emerald. For Gold and Silver, they came out with
so you think
Gold and Silver, Crystal.
Okay, I see. So you're saying that this one, the remake, now that's coming out, they're gonna come out with the third one, the Z.
Well, I don't think they're gonna come out with the game, but the ZA, I think they'll have like a Z version Charizard at least, or Blastoise, or they'll have evolutions for the Mega Evolution thing. I think so. It'll be tight.
Yeah. So far, not much has been released, but it does have my interest. So I hope they don't do the like Diamond and Pearl with the little figurine where you're looking up on it, and they do it like Scarlet and Violet or like Arceus where you're pretty much just running around, you can catch wild Pokemon and stuff. So we'll see.
I think it's gonna have to be like, there's no way they're gonna go back to the looking, the bird's eye view kind of thing where you're looking down at everything. Especially when the map, you see them, like if the map is only one city, you're going to be running around giant city. So I don't think so. It's going to be a very big game. I feel like it's probably going to be just as big as like Scarlet, like just as in one city. And there's going to be like, those biodomes like we got in the what do you call it, the expansion pack that we got.
Yeah, the Blueberry Academy.
Those domes, I think we're gonna have like areas where it's gonna be just like, oh, that's where you go catch them. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping too, and that would make it great. But like I said, I am new to kind of like the Pokemon franchise and stuff. So you might have the original people, the people from back then, be like, no, the old ways way better. Why are they not going back? There's always division. Once you start something new, there's always going to be people who like it and people who don't like it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, whatever. I like the fact that they made everything like 3D and everything. You can start seeing that like they have fur and stuff. You can like the textures of everything. I think they were doing a good job. It's just it's Nintendo, so like everything's like 10 years like behind like modern games like God of War or something, like
right. Yeah.
The other games are just so like amazing.
I think Nintendo has always made it a priority, probably not graphics to look super crazy, but they've always had the storyline. They're like, their storyline must be pretty much on point. I think their focus has always been for one, story, and then quality, not in terms of graphics quality, but quality in terms of it doesn't come out with super bugs or something like that. Some games get released and then you can't really play it, kicks you out, and then it takes like half a year just to fix the main issues. I think I've always heard Nintendo has always delivered their games pretty much, obviously bugs here and there, but pretty much for the most part a good release.
Hmm. I agree. I think Nintendo. I mean, it's always kind of the same storyline too with most Nintendo games, like Mario. It's like I'm gonna go save Princess Peach, or or Zelda. I'm gonna
Right.
go, take Ganondorf down, and save Zelda or something like that. So it's always they kind of just redirect how they do like the game, but it's always the same thing, but just in a different like imagination of it all. So and Pokemon, they stay pretty direct. Like Scarlet and Violet was different when it came to like, there was no bad guy. At least in Arceus, you eventually find out like Volo is like trying to summon Giratina. Like he has his own plan to like destroy the world. Like there's a bad guy, and there's always something like Team Rocket that there's always somebody, Rainbow Rocket, somebody trying to do something to the whole Pokemon world to make it even better or worser in some way. So when it comes to most games, they're always like they have a thing, except for Scarlet and Violet. There was nothing really like that. Like you got Kieran, who like just wanted to beat you. Like that was the bad guy at the time, and then he becomes your friend after you catch Terrapagos. Thank you everyone for stopping by for Salty's PokeStop. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and any comments would really help. And thank you Sergio for stopping in. All right.